Nice, dude. More Jubilee brain rot. Dude,
Chat.
even TikToks are better than this. This is insane, man.
Chat, this is doing this video. I'm gonna watch this. Hold up. Oh my god. It's so cold. Guys. Look, Chad, you see the snow? Look at the snow. It snowed and it's colding really bad.
Colding.
It's hard for me to fucking
Okay.
to feel the back of my ears, man. It's dark outside and it's not even 5 p.m. Chat, when I used to go to school, okay? I would get out of my classes, dude, okay? And it'd be fully dark outside and it felt depressing as shit.
Look very bad. One thing about there is a lot of infighting on the right that I think makes us look very bad. One thing about liberals, you guys really do stick together and you actually get work done, even when I don't agree with it.
Oh, well, that's just incorrect.
Liberal, I sometimes see y'all sticking really hard together. And y'all are like, no matter what, we're gonna vote red.
What the fuck?
The far left and the far right are equally problematic.
True.
3, 2,
Well, that's a super agree. Yeah.
I've actually seen both sides.
Okay.
I'm
He
a
agrees with me.
conservative,
No.
and I have seen
It's
the far right
all about
chastise me for my
being an
sexuality, and I've
extremist.
seen the far left chastise
That's-
me for being
that's the
conservative.
matter.
And hold on.
I've had my own address
Doesn't
put
matter
on the
what
freeway
you
here
believe
in
in.
Los Angeles because
As long
they
as it's
feel that
extreme,
my voice should
that's
not
the
be
matter.
out there. So I see the two sides actively doing harm to those of us in the middle who have a really rational voice and want to express ourselves in a safe way.
I appreciate the anecdotal experience that you had, but I think my issue saying that liberals are more problematic. I think everyone is.
What I talk about in my anecdotal incident is where I have never had a conservative physically attack me on the streets for what I am or who I am. They may verbally attack me. I've got that from the left too, but the left has physical attacks on my physical being out on the streets because I'm expressing myself.
So I mean,
multiple.
The opposite for myself. So experiences, as I said, anecdotal.
Right.
Your experience, completely valid, but to say, oh, liberals are worse.
Right. Well, it's not that there's no one worse, which is why I didn't move to strongly agree. My anecdotal experience tells me that there is a group of people on both sides that will do active harm to someone who steps out of
Zero
their
likes.
accepted
Mate.
narrative.
I feel like when we talk about political extremes,
When I get
think
likes,
one,
dude,
there is
I have a
lack of
90
desire for
to
bipartisanship.
10%
The second thing is just kind of playful,
like to
passive
dislike ratio,
facts.
dude.
People on the far left and the far right, whether we're talking
And I
about
have like
Israel,
10
Palestine
likes.
or vaccines,
Or
people
9,
seem to
I
have
guess.
very fun
No, I have more.
activities in terms of just
Because I have,
completely making stuff up
I
regarding these
think,
two
3
things.
dislikes.
And then the third thing is the
So I have like
demonization of
30
political
likes now.
opponents, where people on the far left and the far right engage in
Or
this
my,
idea that the people on the opposite
wait.
side of the aisle, they're not just
No, I
afraid
only
to
have 1
different
dislike.
ideas, they
And
actually
I have
hate
10
the
likes.
country, they want to destroy
9
us.
likes.
People get labeled as extremists just for being pretty
My
centrist.
brain is not working.
Here. I don't think anyone here is extreme.
No.
But going down the street, you might get labeled, crazy leftist or racist or.
I had to take this shirt off, for real.
It's interesting because when answering this prompt, I sort of hesitated. I've been on both
Yeah, I don't know if I can watch this, to be honest.
sides of the spectrum. I used to be what I would characterize as a radical
Skip.
leftist. Now I'm sort of
Skip.
right of center, and I feel like I get
Skip.
There should not be limitations on free speech.
Chat. I was the thing says about this. I was says about this.
There should not be limitations
Guys.
on free speech.
Guys. This is
False.
the dumbest shit ever. Guys, there should not be
There
limitations
shouldn't
on
be
free
any
speech. Guys,
limitation
if
for
you-
me.
I feel
For
like
you, there should be.
If
That's
you agree with this, I think it's
my
brain dead.
take.
3, 2, 1.
Yeah, see, disagree.
Okay, I hate this prompt.
Yeah, it's a shit prompt.
What?
Yeah, it's a shit prompt because everybody should be in disagree. Because it's a bad prompt.
all agree that direct calls to violence are not
See,
acceptable.
there you go, calls to violence. That's what I was gonna say.
You can't scream
Boom,
fire.
boom.
In
That's what I was gonna say. Guys, that was gonna be my one argument. Guys, calls to arm for violence. Boom, done.
theater. Otherwise, I think
Yeah,
it's
except
easy
for
answer.
me,
So
you
easy.
feel me?
like doing their ideology. You should be
That's
allowed
why it's
to
a
say
bad prompt, because
basically whatever rhetoric you want,
it-
as long as it's not like violating the
Yeah,
terms of service of the
I
platform.
disagree
I
when
do
it's for
agree that
everybody.
Vaccine misinformation
But
is
for me,
harmful.
I
do
agree.
agree that misinformation relating to conspiracy theories is harmful, but I don't think the proper way to go about addressing that is to lock it all down and to ban it. I like the steps that YouTube has taken where they might put a note under the video, or what Twitter, or the social media platform formerly known as Twitter, called X, is taking, where they have like the community note system.
I was thinking the very same thing as you. Of course, there are certain things that you cannot do, even with free speech being present. And I'm not sure how you define hate speech. So with some of the hate speech laws
Yeah,
that are...
but she's wrong though, because then that means that there's a limitation. By definition, what she just said is a limitation. So her answer is disagree, not agree.
coming about, I think those need to be reevaluated and maybe rolled back, because even people who we disagree with or we don't like or we view as evil should still be able to espouse their beliefs.
Right. For example, right now, what's going on with students on campus, I don't agree that Congress and other individuals should limit what students are talking about on campus, what's going on in Gaza, what's going on in Israel, with the crackdown on JVP, the crackdown on Students for Justice for Palestine. The people who are in power should understand that students are the most, I would say, abrasive when it comes to speaking out against injustices.
I'm a free speech absolutist. I think that there should be repercussions to certain free speech, but it's a constitutional right, and yeah,
What?
that's where I stand.
That
with it.
makes
Yeah, I
no
don't want
sense.
any apps being banned. I don't want people being banned from certain apps. And I think
That-
there's an attack on our First Amendment right now. Yeah.
So you think no one should be banned
This guy's
from?
not understand the prompt.
No,
They don't even understand the prompt.
absolutely
So
not.
like someone calls me like the F slur, you like leave them?
Yeah.
Why?
I get called that
Because
all
that's
the
their
time.
right to say that. Now, you know, you can. There should be measures
Yeah.
taken where, like I said, there are.
Guys, if you get punished for talking freely, that's not free speech. That means that there's a limitation. Guys, I think there should be some consequences for this. Okay, well that means that there's a limitation for free speech. That's just how it is. Like,
Repercussions to certain speech. I don't think
guy
the
is
platform
bugging.
should be
They're all-
able to
these are all
remove
bugging.
them, but I think you should have the right to block them like we already can now,
Right.
because
agree with-
I've lost 3 Instagram profiles just for saying, oh, I don't think children should have sex changes under the age of 18. Account's gone. Like, I've lost thousands of followers and stuff for just saying things that I think are just common
I do have a
sense,
question
so.
for you, actually.
Yeah.
Because I can understand why,
Sure,
like,
that's
hearing a
what
word
happened
like that is harmful, and it's not something that you want to deal with on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you rather know who's homophobic, though? Wouldn't you rather know who's racist?
Yeah.
These platforms have the right, as private businesses, to say what they want on those businesses. It's not cancel culture for them to take down slurs. And honestly, they're not that great at taking down slurs anyway. Because I get called a on a daily basis online just for being a Jewish person.
The unfortunate thing is this internet and social media has become the town square. And the town square, if you were to take a box and put it in the town square, there is no limit on what you can say. And who's to say the city's gonna come down and say, you use the word and we're gonna take your soapbox and you can't ever come back to my city? That's exactly what you're doing when you're saying the platform has every right to remove this language.
You have the option to go to another platform. Plenty of
So we have the option to
conservative.
go to another city then.
There's plenty of conservative platforms
Now we
that
have no free speech.
Yo, a city, oh my God, I can't, I'm over it.
Speech.
you have free speech because you have so many options.
I think we have to be really
You have to compare that to a house, not a city. A house is a privately owned fucking place by somebody, right? And since it's privately owned, they can have their own rules to what's going on in the house, even though there are rules, and that's just what it is, though, dude. If it's in the middle of the city, that's public and shit. That's different.
Careful. When we
Not
talk about
the
the
same
concept
thing.
of free speech, I like the concept of free speech, and I would defend that across multiple platforms, but that's fundamentally different than the First Amendment. The First Amendment has nothing to do with, like, the concept of free speech.
Right.
The First Amendment prohibits Congress or state or local governments from making laws specifically abridging your right to freedom of speech. Like, hate speech laws don't exist in the United States because there's not hate speech. Hate can be an aggravator to an existing crime, but we don't outlaw certain types of speech. Twitter does not have a legal obligation. It's a violation of their First Amendment right to say they have to host whatever type of speech or tweet that somebody has on the platform.
And a hate crime and a hate incident are two different things too. And I wanted to say, like, if somebody called you, you know, the F word, and then they said they wanted to kill you, then that's a hate crime, and that's not protected, right?
Correct.
But a hate incident, somebody could call you an F word and not say they want to kill you, and that's still protected.
Exactly. It can be an aggravating circumstance to an existing crime, but you can call somebody whatever you want, and it's not. Yeah.
I often criticize my own political party.
Guys, which I think freedom of speech should protect. Why? Because who dictates what words and what things you can't do, right? That's what we call, that is a classic slippery slope, dude. Okay, you can't say this anymore. Oh, you can't say, oh, you can't say short. Oh, yeah, and well, at one point,
Yeah.
There's a good fucking, you have to put your foot on the ground and say, oh, well, my personal belief is that I agree with this. I agree with, you should be able to say, you are fat, boom, and then, boom, boom. I mean, shit, it was what it is.
3.
What are you gonna say? I don't care about this. True. You know what? Violence should never be the answer. You know what? Oh, it's a bad prompt again. Any issue? Bruh. Nah. Guys, I have to majorly disagree. But only on a few exceptions. Let's see.
To any issue. 3, 2, 1.
Guys, it's a super hardcore disagree. Come on, Destiny.
Hey there.
Dude, why does Destiny only go to disagree? Go to hardcore disagree, bro.
There, it's Amala.
Hey, I'm Destiny.
Do you want to be in a Jubilee video?
If so, go to jubileemedia.com/cat.
New badge pop.
Or click the link below this video and you can apply.
Now let's get back to it.
I mean, violence, assuming we have a functioning democracy, I think violence is bad for two huge reasons. One is because we don't want to condition people to feel like violence is the answer to political disagreements. And then two, we want people to utilize, we want everybody to be able to utilize some form of protest against the government. And when we endorse violence, we're now saying it's okay for even people we disagree with to use violence, and that can be really scary for a lot of different reasons. But I would say in general, in 99%, where we're at today in the United States, we are not at the level of where violence is necessary to enact any kind of political change.
I wouldn't say that's entirely true. I mean, there's a certain level of violence happening to marginalized communities. That doesn't mean I necessarily agree with violence when it comes to the Palestinian rebellion that's been happening in Israel. I don't agree with Hamas killing people, that's terrorism, but at the same time, the violent uprisings that have happened, most of which have actually been peaceful, but still there is some sort of violence happening because they've been oppressed for so long. Like back in the Holocaust, people think that, oh, Jews went peacefully into the concentration camps. No, we were violent. We had uprisings, we fought back. At a certain point, there is violence in fighting back to oppression.
I put agree because I don't strongly agree with it because I'm all about nonviolence in my life.
Guys, I agreed because for me it was like, violence would never enter any issue. Brother, you're cornered and have nowhere to run. Somebody's in your house with a fucking gun and you have a gun. Whoa, brother, yo, okay, bing bong. That is the answer to the issue. I ain't fucking dying, yo, fuck this shit. I'm just gonna let myself perish. There's no way to run, no way to whatever. That issue, there's only way out. It's to defend. Well, I mean, shit is what it is, brother.
Life.
Violence is unfortunately the issue here.
I'm all about nonviolence. But at the same time, as I organize and I'm on the ground and I'm at protests and I'm at demonstrations, by any means necessary means, right?
Are you dumb, dude? Then just ask the gun to stop. Fuck, dude. No, I didn't think about that, guys. Sir, I do not consent or agree with this current situation. Do not.
Malcolm X, that you have to have some form of disagreement with the state that's not listening to your needs as people, as free people. And sometimes that takes, rebellious actions like burning down banks or burning down listening to your needs as people, as free people. And sometimes that takes, rebellious actions like burning down banks or burning down institutions that are not listening to you. But as black people in America, if we're only demanding liberty and justice, we're not asking for revenge. We're just asking for equality. And sometimes I think the state looks at us being a resistant as violence.
Oh.
Sure, yeah, the reason I came over here, I was thinking more internationally.
My
You know,
birthday,
if-
I'm turning 20 away. Have a great day, Mr. PVCS.
I understand. Want something, then ask something. If they don't listen, just burn it. Oh.
the country's met with
I
violence.
see it.
There's really only one way to respond to that. I don't think
True.
Israel could go to Hamas and say, hey guys, can you just not do that again? When Hamas is already saying that they plan more attacks that they had on October 7th. So I think Israel has the right to defend themselves with violence.
Sure, I think there's so there's a couple of key things to keep in mind here. So
Here
one
comes,
is when we talk about like violence in response to political ideas, we have to be really careful that we don't redefine violence to mean literally anything that we don't like. Because I've noticed that like people are doing these things where like there is a white supremacist violence against black communities because of the way money is distributed with our taxes. And people will take that very academic form of violence, which is, and it's okay I think to have this analysis, but they'll take that academic form of violence and they'll say, now we can kill police officers and burn down buildings. Or now we can engage in arson or destroy neighborhoods.
My side is misrepresented by the media.
Well, no,
Three,
well, no shit.
2,
Well, no shit.
1.
What?
Honestly, the media is controlled by the left. I really never see any positive light shine on conservatives nor the right in the media ever, unless it's
Cap?
right-leaning media.
And to your point, what I think is really interesting to even just look at the conservatives who are here today, it's a pretty diverse bunch of people. And when I was on the left, my characterization of conservatives was like white, heterosexual, old man, and to having moved over that space and see, oh, there's way more people who just happen to have conservative beliefs, or maybe they don't agree with some of the woke stuff that's happening right now. I think we are often mischaracterized.
Guys,
I do agree that right now.
Guys, if you agree with this, this means that the media is never biased on any side. It's just proven that every single fucking media outlet is biased one way or another. Even if it's 1% biased on one side or another, there is then a basic fucking de facto
No way,
misrepresentation.
dude. No way.
It's just the basis of it.
Now,
That's so
ironically,
insane.
It seems like
That's
the
so
left and the far
mind-blowing.
left have more kind of corporate media control in terms of how images are displayed. So you're going to feel like, if you're a conservative, that you're not accurately represented, and the left maybe gets some more fair representation. But on platforms where conservatives run things, holy Christ, are people on the left completely and totally misrepresented. Like, how many times have I heard these stupid quotes from the WEF where it's like, oh, you want us to rent everything and own nothing, and you want us to eat bugs, and you're on your 57th booster shot. Today, if anybody's ever listened to Rush Limbaugh, Michael Savage, Billy Cunningham, like any of these people, these guys are not giving fair, accurate representation of the left. Their voices just tend to be more marginalized or smaller now in media because of how much corporate control kind of like bows to the woke agenda, I would say. Yeah.
I'd like to push back on that just a little bit. I agree with a lot what you're saying, but when it comes to right-wing media, maybe platforms like the Daily Wire or PragerU, they're very open about the fact that they're conservative. A lot of the mainstream left news, they'll present their opinion as fact. But, you know, like someone like Ben Shapiro, he'll tell everyone, you know, listen to my show, listen to
I don't
Positive
disagree with
America,
that, actually.
figure out what you think is right, listen to, and you could figure out the facts based on what we're both saying. You don't see that as much from the left.
I want to push back on that because Ben Shapiro has stated a lot of opinions as facts.
Yeah.
I don't think I think that there are better examples to use within the Conservative Party that are more open.
He means people being more deliberate, right, about the inclination instead of being like a wolf in sheep's clothing, is what he's saying.
About being opinionated, but Ben Shapiro is not.
Yeah, or Michael Knowles saying transgenderism should just be eradicated from society.
The American dream.
Chat,
you believe in the American dream?
3, 2, 1.
You know what? Neutral on this. Neutral.
I feel like when upward class mobility is so hard as it is right now, the American dream is
Guys,
it's
what is
either
the
dead
American
or
dream?
it's on life support because it's just damn near impossible for people to climb out of poverty. Everyone thinks that they're going to be the next Jeff Bezos. You're closer to being on Skid Row than you're ever going to be to Jeff Bezos.
I think the American dream has become
fucking
the
house and shit
American
like that?
memory. Like, I was thinking about this just outside of politics. Like, you know how a lot of people have nostalgia for, like, the past and stuff. It made me look at America, and it's like, we're not going to get back the America that we were post 9/11 when everybody was a little more
Guys.
unified outside of the patient.
Guys, conceptually, because of the economics,
Very Pogga's very cool.
I do agree that it's fully evident.
React and everything. We're not going to get the America where all races could get along without people saying, "Oh, you're culturally appropriating, you're microaggressions," all that little stuff that keeps us divided. I don't think we'll get back to the America that we grew up in. I honestly don't. Like, I want to be optimistic, but it's hard.
I guess I just don't know that that's the necessary point of the American dream. I think it shifts and it changes and it takes on the context of the time that it's in, where we had that sort of old school nuclear family, house with the white picket fence. That's changing with technology and corporations buying up properties and things like that. But I don't think the American dream is dead. I think it's taking on
These people need
a
to
new
learn
form.
how to
I think
start
still
mewing
there is
for real,
no better
man.
place to be. No better.
For the bottom hard work.
Have of the American dream. I feel like a lot of the views you have of the American dream get so politically tainted that one of the things that sucks
They're
is
not
for the
mewing.
cool things that are happening in America, you can't even take credit for it anymore. I hate that I chose like
Dude,
most
start
politically divisive
mewing,
topics,
please.
but like for instance, like I personally think the COVID vaccine, that was a huge success of United States innovation and
Fucking
capitalism.
God,
I think
dude.
our guns are really cool. I think that's like super awesome. You can shoot awesome firearms in the United States. I'm a proud gun owner from Nebraska. It seems like for all the things that exist that are good, we can't take credit for them anymore because all of them become so heavily politically divided that we start to have this huge doomer outlook on everything.
I think it's really hard for some people to have that optimistic outlook when there is so much in the way. Like as a disabled person, we're still forgotten about with marriage equality. We're still forgotten about when it comes to health mandates. For a lot of people who live
start
this
mewing,
every
please.
day,
Please
for
start
us,
mewing.
the
What is
American
this,
dream
dude?
is dead, and it's
What
been
is
dead for a
that?
while.
I just think like
Start mewing.
the fact that we're all here and like clothed and fed and have water and we're here discussing ideas and like how to make this country a better place, to me that completely signifies the American dream we are currently living it.
That's like, as you said, like a really optimistic view. Like, oh, look how far we've come.
Start
but what if
mewing.
that's not enough for those people?
Start mewing.
I think
Start
on
mewing.
a lot of points,
Start
people
mewing.
want to do some shit, right? And they want
Start
to be called
mewing.
out for it.
Start
right?
mewing.
A lot of things are possible. You can do them, right? People will give you some pushback, right? Maybe here and there, but you're allowed to do a bunch of shit that you want to do, right? Yeah, you might not get your social validation, but you can still do it.
Start mewing. Start mewing.
That's
Right?
freedom.
Start mewing.
Not because you want to go around doing something that everybody's going to say, oh, wow, this is good, cool. But you can still do it.
Yeah, I'm sick of this shit. I'm actually absolutely sick of this shit.